Just days after his wedding, he vanished without a trace from a luxury cruise ship. Was it a tragic accident or something far darker? Blood stains, mysterious circumstances, and a growing suspicion of foul play. Could this have been a murder at sea? Let's dive into the chilling case of George Smith's disappearance. In the far reaches of the Aegean Sea, where the horizon stretched endlessly and the waters blended seamlessly with the sky, the Royal Caribbean cruised along. George Smith and his new wife Jennifer stood on the deck, feeling the wind in their hair, mesmerized by the stunning surroundings. Before them, the Aegean Sea unfolded like an expansive canvas of hope and unspoken dreams. Their honeymoon had just begun, but little did they know, this tranquil voyage was destined to transform into a mysterious tale. On the morning of July 5th, 2005, around 8 a.m., 16-year-old Emily Rausch from Chicago was getting ready for the day in her cabin. As she gazed out her window, something unusual caught her eye, sending a wave of unease through her. Blood stains smeared across the nearby lifeboat canopy, and a darker spot at its edge suggested someone injured had fallen there before disappearing into the sea. Unable to ignore her discovery, Emily quickly alerted the ship's crew about the strange footprints. Other passengers from adjacent cabins also noticed these unsettling signs. A lively and intense conversation began on deck about what might have occurred. This marked the beginning of a story that soon made headlines in many international newspapers. Just days after a joyful young couple embarked on their Mediterranean honeymoon cruise, their happiness was suddenly shattered by an inexplicable, terrifying event. What happened that night remains a mystery to this day. The accounts of the incident are as puzzling as they are inconsistent, ranging from a tragic accident to a chilling premeditated murder. The investigation quickly spiraled into a complex riddle, with each new twist only raising more questions. The evidence collected on board pointed to several possible suspects, each harboring their own dark secrets. It became clear that many aboard the ship knew far more than they were willing to admit. George Smith was a lively, curious, and intelligent young man. He grew up in the small town of Greenwich, Connecticut. His childhood was full of happiness, surrounded by the love and support of his family, which was always his top priority. He shared a particularly close bond with his parents and his sister Bree. His father, George Smith Sr., owned a liquor store which he managed on his own. For him, the family business was not just a job, but a true passion. In 2000, George Smith graduated with a degree in business from Babson College in Massachusetts, eager to carve out his future. After graduation, he relocated to Boston and worked for several years as a computer data mining analyst, immersing himself in the world of technology and data. Yet, despite his success in the corporate world, George's true passion always lay with his family's liquor store. After weighing his options, George decided to return home and help his parents manage the store. With his father's guidance, he aimed to learn the ins and outs of running the family business, ultimately planning to take over one day so his parents could enjoy a well-earned rest. In 2002, during a gathering with friends, George crossed paths with Jennifer, a woman who would soon become his lifelong partner. Jennifer, also from Connecticut, had just accepted a position as an elementary school teacher. She was bright, beautiful, and ambitious, much like George. The two quickly fell in love, and George's parents were overjoyed with his choice. By 2005, at the age of 26, George and Jennifer decided to marry and start a new chapter together. They chose the Castle Hill Inn in Newport, Rhode Island for their wedding, with a stunning oceanfront ceremony that made the day even more unforgettable. It was the ideal backdrop for such a meaningful moment in their lives. Shortly after their wedding, George and Jennifer set off on their honeymoon, choosing to sail aboard a luxurious Royal Caribbean cruise. Their 12-day journey took them across the breathtaking waters of the Aegean Sea, beginning in Barcelona on June 29th. On board, George and Jennifer quickly became friends with another couple and a young Californian man named Josh Askin. Josh, a 20-year-old with a sharp sense of humor, immediately bonded with George, and the group had a great time together. On July 1st, when the ship departed from the Italian coast, they decided to spend the day exploring the island of Mykonos. They wandered through its winding streets, swam in the crystal-clear waters, and savored the delicious local dishes. The group immersed themselves in the island's charm, enjoying a day full of laughter, exploration, and the creation of unforgettable memories. That evening, after a romantic dinner, George and Jennifer rejoined their new friends and decided to celebrate the exotic destination with a fun night out. The air was filled with laughter and excitement as they enjoyed appetizers and drinks before making their way to the onboard casino. George and Josh were drawn to the craps table, while Jennifer enjoyed a round of poker. By the time the night came to an end, the newlyweds had lost a fair amount of money, but they laughed it off, chalking it up to the spirit of their honeymoon. After the casino closed, the group wasn't ready to call it a night. They continued to soak in the evening, enjoying each other's company. The last video footage of George was captured at around 2:30 a.m. on the ship's security cameras, showing him leaving the casino. But that would be the last time anyone would see him. On the morning of July 5th, 2005, a chilling mystery unfolded on the Greek island of Mykonos. George Smith, just 26 years old and enjoying his honeymoon, had gone missing under strange circumstances. While he had been reveling in the luxury of the Royal Caribbean ship, something dark had transpired overnight. The captain ordered an inspection of George's cabin, where unsettling evidence was found. Strange footprints near the window raised suspicion, and further investigation uncovered blood on the deck, leading authorities to quickly suspect that George's disappearance was linked to a violent incident. The ship was thrown into alarm as news of the mystery spread among passengers. Deck 7 was cordoned off as the crew launched a thorough search for the missing man. Given the blood found in his cabin, it was feared that George had fallen overboard. Meanwhile, by 10 a.m., Jennifer was located at the ship's spa, where she had a scheduled massage. She appeared shaken and confused. Claiming to have no knowledge of her husband's whereabouts, she said she hadn't seen him since the previous night and seemed genuinely unaware of the events surrounding his disappearance. Jennifer explained that when she woke up that morning, George was missing from their cabin. Since he had been out with friends the night before, she initially thought nothing of it and went to the spa to relax. However, as the day went on, things took a darker turn. Turkish authorities boarded the ship to begin their investigation, while the ship's captain tried to reassure the passengers, emphasizing that cooperation with local authorities was crucial to unraveling the mystery. As Jennifer was questioned by police, her lack of knowledge about George's whereabouts began to raise suspicions. She told investigators that men in white uniforms had visited her cabin, informing her that George might have fallen overboard. However, the discovery of blood traces on the ship painted a much more sinister picture. Investigators soon found signs of a struggle in George's cabin, which was left in disarray. Small bloodstains were found on the bedding and towels, and forensic analysis confirmed that the blood belonged to George. This confirmed that he had been injured in the cabin before disappearing, suggesting that something violent had occurred during the night. One particular detail that immediately caught the attention of investigators was a chair on the balcony, which had been moved, possibly to allow someone to sit by the railing. Bloodstains found on the balcony's awning raised the chilling possibility that George had either fallen overboard or, worse, been the victim of foul play. As the investigation into George's disappearance unfolded, it became clear that the events surrounding his vanishing were far more complex and troubling than anyone had anticipated. Authorities started interrogating the individuals George and Jennifer had spent time with the previous evening. They disclosed that George had been severely drunk and required help returning to his cabin. They left him by himself, assuming Jennifer would come back later. However, there were discrepancies in the story provided by Josh Askin, one of the new acquaintances they had met on the cruise. Josh had claimed to have seen Jennifer leave with a casino staff member named Lloyd, hinting at a potential romantic involvement. But security footage contradicted his account, showing Jennifer parting ways with the group around 3:30 a.m. and heading back to her cabin shortly after, as confirmed by her keycard data. Further probing raised suspicions that Josh Askin might be withholding crucial information. The investigation grew more complex, uncovering additional mysteries and troubling details. A young man named Greg Rosenberg, along with his cousin and a close friend, was also aboard the same cruise. They had spent time in the casino, and after it closed, they moved on to the disco. Lloyd Botha, the casino manager, was part of their group as well. Later, the group scattered to their cabins, visibly drunk and causing a commotion. They had been drinking absinthe, which was prohibited on the ship. Josh Askin, on his way back to his cabin to retrieve a bottle of absinthe, mentioned that it was a particularly potent variety, with an alcohol content exceeding 70%. As the investigation progressed, each new piece of information only seemed to deepen the confusion and mystery surrounding George's disappearance. At 3 a.m., George decides to assist his friend by concealing a bottle of absinthe behind his waistband. Later, a janitor notices George and his companions drinking the absinthe, which becomes a key piece of evidence in the investigation. As the night wears on, Jennifer, who had been composed earlier, begins to stagger and exhibit erratic behavior, even leaning on the casino manager. This leads to an altercation between Jennifer and George, whether playful or angry, culminating in Jennifer hitting George. Around 3:30 a.m., visibly intoxicated, Jennifer leaves the disco, leaving George behind with his new friends. This moment becomes critical in the investigation. A janitor helps Jennifer back to her cabin, but she veers off course and starts walking down the wrong hallway. Later, she is found unconscious in the hallway and is escorted back to her room by security at 4:52 a.m. However, George is nowhere to be found in the cabin, and there are troubling signs, such as tightly drawn balcony curtains that remain still even in the breeze, raising suspicions. Nearby passengers, including a police officer and his wife, report hearing loud noises from the Smiths' cabin at around 4 a.m., including an argument and a loud thud. Investigators theorize that George might have been involved in a robbery attempt or an accident, as evidence suggests his watch could have been taken. Others speculate that his disappearance could have been the result of a tragic fall, possibly caused by alcohol. The FBI takes over the case, conducting polygraph tests, interviews, and reviewing a mysterious videotape featuring 3 men joking about paragliding without a parachute, which might be a cryptic reference to George's fall. Despite these developments, the investigation remains tangled in conflicting accounts. Greg Rosenberg, a key witness, provides contradictory statements. Then, in 2019, he is found murdered, deepening the mystery and fueling suspicions of foul play related to George's disappearance. The Smith family, heartbroken over George's death, continues to seek answers and offers a reward for information, though their efforts lead to few breakthroughs. Jennifer's actions, especially her acceptance of a $1 million settlement from the cruise company, spark further mistrust within the Smith family. Despite her claims of having no memory of the events after 2:30 a.m., the family becomes increasingly convinced she is hiding something. Ultimately, forensic experts, including renowned criminologist Henry Lee, conduct independent investigations that provide some insights but fail to definitively resolve the case. In the end, the FBI closes the investigation, ruling George's disappearance as an accident, but his whereabouts remain unknown, and the Smith family continues their search for the truth.